Next week, there'll be groups coming together from around the world to celebrate the day out of time, the end of a Mayan year on July the 24th, the day out of time that has been denoted to be a void before starting the new year on July the 26th. For the last since 2012, every day out of time, I have done ceremony, either by myself or with groups of people. It is something that I always felt that I needed to do, most specifically since I came up here in Mount Shasta. But my initiation, my connection to the Maya started a long time back in 1987, when I was first introduced to the Mayan mystery schools. And for many years, that region of the world was my workplace, and it was also my learning place of understanding and witnessing so many things that you weren't supposed to be able to do, that were part of the mystery schools that only the initiates were able to learn to see, and how to do things and be with things and go outside the realms of logic and understanding and what is real and what is not real. So it was from this background that the Maya opened up many, many things, including sound. Sound came later, but it was through my education in these realms that the Mayan initiating school was opened, and then followed by the Egyptian and Lemurian. And it was like, I had no idea where this is going to lead. Now I do. So next week, I'm going to reinitiate something I started doing in 2004, at a time when metaphysics was something that you really couldn't talk about, not like you can today. It was at a time where crystal bowls were still very new. They had only been available to the public since the middle of the 90s. And they came out of a process that was a byproduct of the computer industry. Why? Well, if you have to look back at the crystal radios, crystals are communicators. They transmit and receive information, have for millions and millions of years, and still do. So transistor radios all had a crystal component in them. Thus, when computers came along, they're communicators. They're a transmitter and receiver. So obviously they had to have crystals in them too. And out of this growing from when computers became public access in the early 90s, 92 was when the internet came on to the public. Then this has been the growing witnessing of sound healing, or sound in the crystal form. I was able to and guided to share an amazing process with a community of people in Charlottesville, Virginia. Every Wednesday night, we opened, a friend of mine who owned the crystal store, and we opened a space to the public to come in and witness what sound is and what healing is, and the amazingness of what can happen. So every Wednesday night for a year, the space was opened and people heard about it. It was never advertised. It was word of mouth. And so people would arrive and they would play. We had sometimes 8, 10 bowls. It depended on what was available in the store. And people played them. It was our very specific direction from the higher ups that we were to open this, and it was not us to play, but it was the people to play. And it was through this experience that I learned sound and what happens to sound and to people, through people, in the most amazing ways. I believe many of the pieces of information that I have are never taught in any sound healing courses, because I don't believe people have really felt the sound in the same way, to be immersed. And when I say people came to play, depending on how many people, anywhere from an hour and a half to 3.5 hours, you are immersed in a container, whether it was in a hallway, which we did it, and it was quite remarkable, or in a room. You are in a container of pure frequency. And each person had the ability to play, to witness, to learn, to hear, see, and feel sound beyond what they knew was possible. Often in the process, because there's 3 parts to the process, but in the process of the first part is breaking down the sound, breaking down the barriers, breaking down the molecules or whatever's being held by frequency, just like putting a laser into a rock. That laser splits the rock. The sound splits whatever the barriers are within the body very gently, but profoundly. The second part is about when the body starts to really acclimate to the new frequencies, then it is able to start looking for a new matrix. It's going to go through this rumbling and so recalibrating itself and finding its perfect place. Then the third part is the body, and the body is the most remarkable computer on the planet. And this is why I say we are completely in control of everything, and we have to be able to, I think I'm hoping that this is another way that we can use, then we can override some of the dangers of the 4 and 5G that are coming in. That when we know that we are the pure instrument of a sound frequency to come into that place, then, so in the third part, the body is starting to, it's coming back and it's reading, like you're drawing something, and it's like, oh, it's forming into a place, and everything in your body is starting to settle into a new sound. You can hear it in the bowls. That is what's so remarkable. It is beyond what the bowls can do through technology. It is the interaction with the human life field and the living beings that the bowls are. They are living entities. They have personalities. They have attitudes. I've had bowls that will not play if I'm not in that right space. And it doesn't matter what I do. It's like, what is wrong with this bowl? Today, I cannot get a sound out of it. And then I get out of my way. I'll come back a few hours later, whatever. And then, boom. So they tell you very clearly what's going on. Once you get used to it, once you can feel and you become involved in that field. So the third, let me go back, I'm jumping here. Let me go back to the first 3, the first portion of it, is that it sounds like some things are very disharmonious. Well, we are disharmonious. We are not in sync with the frequencies, whatever they are. So we learn to be in those, in the beginning, first third of it, we start breaking that down, and then the frequencies start changing. You can hear that in the bowl. Then, in the middle where the matrix is starting to form, other people can identify, why does that bowl sound different when you play it to when you play it? And this is people who have never heard the bowls, have no idea. They didn't even know why they arrived. Number one, it's like, why am I here? It's like, well, I don't know, but you're going to sit here and you're going to find out. And so this becomes a huge awakening for people who are, and I love it when they're innocent. Totally love it, because we get jaded when we think we know everything. And it's when we think we know everything that we miss so much. And so it's in the innocence of what is happening. And so I don't share too much. I share just a little bit about what's going to happen, but I don't share the rest of it, because that would spoil the innocence of it. So in that innocence of starting to feel and believe, and this is not a quick trick fix. It is a process over time, and that time could be an hour and a half, or it could be 3 hours. And it is a place to allow yourself you can't control sound. You cannot control these bowls. It will break you, break through whatever it is. And it's beautiful how it does. But then you get to the third, and then you're coming into alignment. And as more and more people become into alignment, because these are all based on your chakras. So you are aligning your chakras over a period of time, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, just to make sure nothing's missing, nothing's hidden under the ground. Come on, open. And so as every person starts refining themselves and getting higher and cleaner, you see their hair change, you see their skin. Sometimes they get a completely different facial personality. Their body may change. Other people may cry. I mean, it's just, you have no idea what you're going to do and what happens. But what does happen with bowls is that they become cleaner and purer in their sound. Now, some people say, oh, no, a bowl can't change. Oh, yes, it can. Yes, it can. I started long ago with just, I had one bowl, I had a bee. She was the one who had the attitude. And in all of the literature, you would say, you can't use a bee because it's a crown chakra, and you better not use it on your solar plexus or your sacral, because, it's not going to do anything. Wrong, as far as I'm concerned. I had that bee, somehow, it had the capacity, because I only had one, and Spirit was saying, this is what you're going to do in working with this person. And that bowl changed a frequency to a frequency that was required by the person I was working with. It's so subtle, but it is in, I guess, just the time and the training that I've had, that I've witnessed so much. And I see it in somebody's energy field. And it was always remarkable. So these bowls get higher and higher, and purer and cleaner. And the lights, I've had lights that literally change intensity. Their wattage ramps up in a space. It starts out very low, and nobody touches the light, and there's a ramping up of this light frequency. I know what this does, and it is remarkable. Not all the time, but in the right circumstances, in the right atmosphere, in the right time, some things happen. So when everyone is on that very last portion of the third segment, there is a and it is then I say, you're not done yet. Now, I will allow you to play the orchestra. And what that is in the space when everyone is clean and pure and probably at a frequency they have never been in their entire life. For those moments in time at that very end, there's something that every cell and molecule, organ, muscle, sinew, in the physical body, the emotional, mental, and spiritual fields, it's a sound, I don't know, it's a sound chamber unto itself. And then I start to initiate it. People are like, oh no, what are we going to do? I start playing. I'm doing it, playing a little bit. And once you do it, they start, and then next we start. And then they start to get the feel and understand, and I stop. And slowly but surely they start playing. And they allow somebody in, and somebody else comes in, and somebody else goes out, and it becomes this wave of impromptuness that in probably every single moment that I witnessed, it is like a group of angels in a cathedral singing. It doesn't matter if it sounds in your everyday down 3D world going, oh, they're not doing it right. This is flat or this is flat. You have to transcend that to see and hear beyond that which you didn't think was possible. So that is like the crescendo. However, this time round, within the sacred ceremony, you will be sitting on one of the latest labyrinth I have created. It's a 15-foot square painted walking labyrinth with it's 8 paths. I have added the 8th path, which is now the high heart or the thymus, your power center, your personal power center. So there's 8 chakras that you would walk on it. It is infused with crystals and sacred geometries. Mount Shasta's in one corner, and the 13 stellar nations of the Milky Way are in another corner. Now, for those who are not familiar with the stellar nations and soul families, this is information that goes back 26,000+ years to the times when Lemuria was at a height of its civilization. And many of us now who are doing this work have come from those realms, those points, going way back. And this is why so many things are being brought forth like this. We are remembering. So this labyrinth is called Lemuria Remembered. The sacred geometry that has been put onto this labyrinth is obviously in 2D. Yet if you, and I did make a little paper model of what the geometries look like, and with a base, an octahedron base, it is a pyramidal temple sound chamber. That is what you are sitting on during the sound immersion. So you are not only in a sacred space of the building that we are working with, which is in Dunsmuir. It's the Magic Mountain Massage and Wellness, and the Temple of Intention in Mount Shasta. But I bring in the labyrinth, the sacred space, and the bowls. And so you are sitting within this field of the holographic sound temple to do the work. It, I guess as you can gather, I am high on it. And it feels really, really good to be bringing it back again. I wanted to bring it back many times, from 2004 to 2009. I was doing it on the East Coast in Virginia, Florida, and North Carolina. And actually, some of you may know James Ayotte. Well, we serendipitously met when he came to one of my gatherings in this little town outside of Asheville, North Carolina. And anyway, it ended up that I invited him. I said, I want to do a sound healing CD meditation. And so I invited him to share it with me, because I wanted it to be the balance of the masculine and the feminine. Everything I do has to have a balance, and I do have this masculine and feminine balance. It's like this is how we're going to get unity. So miracles happened, and James and I were invited to this professional recording studio up in Highlands, North Carolina, and we took 15 bowls from people that store that I worked with, and what I had and what somebody else had. We brought 15 bowls to this recording studio, and we recorded a crystal bowl CD during a 3-hour session. It was impromptu. It was absolutely remarkable. And the technical director, that we had, the TD that we had, who was also the owner of the recording studio, he'd sort of he'd heard a bowl, but he didn't understand what it's like. Oh, okay, I'll just witness what you're going to do. He got taken out about halfway through. He sort of hit on the desk. He is gone, and James and I are just like, oh my gosh, I hope he wakes up for whenever we're ready to finish, because we were following the guidance of what we were given. We had no structure. We were feeling out the balance of James would play, I would play, we would work together, it was just a remarkable experience. And of course the TD woke up right at the end when we were just sort of getting ready to go. We thought 3 hours. Didn't even realize it was 3 hours. It just disappeared. So, and I had no idea James had any connection to Mount Shasta until I met him outside Berryvale about 4 years later, suddenly. So that's what I wanted to share with you. I'm also in Mount Shasta going to offer to groups that are coming in, individual groups from around the country, from internationally, to do private groups with them, to do different types of work with other people, private sessions with my Sound Alchemy Medicine, which entails a lot of different things. And I want to also have a half day or a full day course for sound, those who are interested in being a sound practitioner or already are a sound practitioner. But I would like to share some of the things that that are generally not known, and more of the depth of the magic that I have gained to give back to others. I feel it is very, very important to do that. I've always given back. I've never had any problem sharing what I do with other people. We need this unity. We need all of us professionals, therapists, consultants, whatever we are, we need to come together in as individuals in the collective to co-create as from our individual perspective and gifts in the co-creative community, and bring that together so that our base is way stronger than ever before. We've got enough dissension in the world. We have to raise above that sort of spiritual ego, whatever, and bring it into unity. And this is my portion of giving that out. There is a value exchange with the sound immersion. It is it's a gentle full body sound therapy session that happens, and as energy is a giving and a receiving, and many of us have been sort of put into the mentality of us, if you're doing spiritual work, you can't charge, or you have to, just be menial. This is not correct, and it usurps the work. And I will give as I'm on a roll here, I'll give a little example of what happened. Many years ago, I had a client in Florida, and I'd done a lot of work with her. One day she comes to me and she says, can you initiate me to the Reiki Master again? And I went, what do you mean again? And she said, well, I've gone through the Reiki Master, but it doesn't work. And I went, what do you mean it doesn't work? Just like, I'm surprised. Weird things are happening once again. Okay. I'm going to go on, keep on going. So she told me who did it, and also what happened in the time, and she said it didn't work, and I went, well, what was the portion that didn't work? And she said, well, in exchange for the Reiki Master attunement, we had to bring canned goods as a donation for the food pantry. And I immediately understood exactly what she was talking about. This woman was very conscious of material expressions. She was very conscious of the clothes she wore, her dress, the people she was with, everything that was going on in her world. It all had a lot of class. Maybe not what I liked, but it was her value. And she did not associate with a food pantry at all. And so having the association of the value of the Reiki Master attunement with food donations for the pantry, she immediately put the blocks up to say, this is not going to work. It has no value. So when I did the attunement for her, I said, this is my fee. And she's like, oh, whoa. And I said, wait a minute. The last time you said it didn't work because this was of no value. Now, what do you want to value yourself as? And I said, this is the figure that I have been shown to share with you. And so I shared that, and she says, yes, all right, I understand. And so we did the attunement. The following day, she had this Reiki circle. Monday morning, I get this massive call, like, thank you so much. It was amazing. Oh my gosh, I did things I'd never done before, blah, blah. And she went on and on and on. Sorry, you're doing the yard out the front. I tell you. Anyway, please go away. Immersion, for the people who come and want to play the bowls, it's $24 for about a foundation, getting things done. So 44 is about physical world and spiritual world, getting things done. And 4 and 4, 8. 8 is the number of infinity. And it is the power of personal power and management and empowerment. So therefore, this is what this is about. And I've also put in one for those who don't want to, who will not play, yet they will be present in the space. And in the immersion of that, it's $22. So I apologize. Nearly done. So yes, I think that's pretty much what I have to share with you today. Right outside the window. Oh my. So as I was saying, I think I am complete in my sharing at this moment in time. I plan to do some more little short, I say short, but nothing I do is short. I tend to go on forever sometimes. Talks about sound, about crystals, about what things I have learned, about the labyrinths and the powers of different understandings and teachings. And from my perspective, because that's all I have. And know that you are an instrument, you are the music, and you are the player of a symphony through the cells and molecules that activate sound and expand into the universe. So thank you for now. If anybody's interested, I will travel, California, Washington, Oregon, internationally, to do these presentations, to do this teaching, to open it up to more people so that they can bring, which I have done in every location I've lived in and done the bowls. I have anchored a space that people can come and learn from what I've shown others, to teach others how to play and how to hear and how to feel. And you do it, then you start doing it in your own way. We're not supposed to be programmed to do the same thing that everybody else teaches. That's not what we're about. We take what we have, and then through our gifts, we make it personally ours, and uniquely ours. Oh, I missed one thing. No sound immersion can be repeated exactly the same. The reason is energy completely changes all the time, every moment, every breath. So I always get amused when science tries to go and replicate certain things. And I've some people down south that do scientific experiments with sound. Well, you might be able to do it with digital and electronic sound, but you cannot replicate sound that is human and a crystal being, human to human or in a crystal being, because whatever happens in the moment of healing, in the moment of expansion, in layers of whatever, like an onion, you peel them off, like the rose, like anything, you peel it off and you put it down and you leave it. It doesn't exist anymore. So how can you replicate something that was, but now is not? So I think I will finish here. Thank you all so much. I can't see who's there because I don't have my glasses on. So forgive me for not saying thank you to all. I thank all of you who contributed to this presence today. But I can't read it at the moment. So many, many blessings. And I hope to see you either in Dunsmuir on Wednesday the 24th at 7 o'clock, or in Mount Shasta, the Temple of Intention, at 6:30. or organize your own your own event with me. All right. Thank you so much. There's some postings on my wall, and there's some on the other two locations, Temple of Intention and the Magic Mountain. And I'm not a techie. Sometimes I mess up terribly. I get panicky. So, but I've done what I can. Many blessings. Thank you so much. And have a very, very blessed day today.